What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Filsinger Games Character Spotlight with Mike and Brock.
I'm Mike.
And this is Brock. And today we are talking about the last two characters remaining from the initial starting game. And that is Thantos and Star Warrior. Two big guys.
The big two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these guys are definitely the pinnacle of the first few sets.
For sure.
The measuring stick for the hero and the measuring stick for the villains.
Mm-hmm. And our topic for the week is starting over. So that's an interesting topic that we've mentioned quite a few times on here, and a lot of our listeners and viewers have mentioned it as well. So we'll just take a little dive into that and talk about how we would do it if we were to actually do it.
Yeah, and this will also be an extended episode because we thought Thantos and Star Warrior deserved a little more than, the 8 to 10 minutes we give each character.
For sure, absolutely.
Because when the promotion runs, is basically, run around you two guys, even to this day, they're still involved in the game.
Mm-hmm. They've even had doppelgangers show up at one point, trying to take on the mantle.
Okay, but let's kick it off with the Star Warrior.
Star Warrior.
The masked Avenger.
The good guy. Check him out. Yeah. I always thought he looked like Terry Taylor.
Yeah, he kind of does.
There he is.
Got that nice feathered 80s hairdo. Can't go wrong.
He does. He looks great. Star Warrior did very well for me.
Really?
He multiple time champion, not as well as Thantos, but he did very well for me. Let me pull up. Okay. I got him up on the wiki here so we can reference that later. Okay. Yeah, I remember him doing very well. Always involved in the title picture there those first few years. It was always him and Thantos. We'll talk about more of that whenever we get to Thantos. But yeah, just an all-around, tough character with his +3 finisher Nova launch. And pretty much 3 level 3 moves on level 2 offense, which is kind of unheard of. He had the choice F, but that was a pretty easy one to hit on most guys in the starter.
Yeah. 2 pin.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was -3 agility, -2 power or something.
That is correct. Nice job.
I haven't looked at that card in 25 years, so this is all going off memory.
Nope.
Yeah, he did well for me, but not like he wasn't great.
Really?
He was now he captured the heavyweight title 4 times, but none of those runs were very long.
Mm-hmm.
On average 3 to 5 defenses. And he captured my intergalaxian singles 3 times. But that was it. He held no tag titles. Just those 2 titles. And he did beat Thanos in Thanos' retirement match.
That's cool. That's fitting.
Yeah. I built it up to it. I knew it was going to happen, years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I wanted it. Except I didn't know who was going to win.
Uh-huh.
It was a win-lose type thing. I'll get into it more when we talk about Thanos.
Uh-huh.
Because their careers just intertwined so much.
They really do.
Like Star Wars, his first 5 years, he fought Thanos.
Wow.
It was just a classic feud. They were always close. Now he lost 3 of those and drew twice, so he never beat Thanos.
Sounds about right. Thanos always had the edge for me too. I think that's why they had the title so much, because they passed it back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. His. And then when Chaos came in, I had him fight Chaos because he was, the top face.
Mm-hmm.
So he fought Chaos, and then his brother come in, the year after to take on Chaos.
Yeah.
And then he went down to Kraken, and then Matador, and then Prodigy. And he fought Prodigy for 5 years as well.
How did he do in that one?
Against Prodigy, he beat him 3 times, lost once, and drew once.
Okay.
So, but that was his last card, though. That was his tag team card.
Mm-hmm.
When him and Thantos were teaming up.
Yeah.
I think they might have had a couple title shots between them, but they just couldn't get it rolling. I could have probably dropped them down to the Intergalaxian title, but I just couldn't see them wanting to do that.
Yeah, after you've accomplished everything that he had, why would you want to take a step back?
Yeah. Now, thinking back on it, I probably should have, because I even saw, like Flair go for the U.S. title, in his later years, and no longer the heavyweight scene, and
yeah.
So, if they would have done that, they probably would have won the Intergalaxian tag combined. But they were going up against some big teams, the Gladiators and the Mercenaries. At that point in time, I'm trying to think of the other top teams. I think I had Armageddon in the title mix then.
Yes. We're talking more about them in our bootleg episode.
Yeah. But, I used them, and so those were the tag teams that they were facing off against. So they didn't win all that much. And I think was it Mason Dregs? Oh,
there he is.
there we go. Okay.
Full
Mason Dregs. Now it's funny. I had a build, because in the original, we were never given heights and weights. So
right.
I had him at 6'4", 245.
Let's see where he was listed at officially here.
I don't know his official.
6'2.5", 242 pounds.
Oh, so I was close on the weight.
Yeah.
I almost made him 6'3", so yeah, I would have been close because I wanted him to be just a touch smaller than Thantos, but I in the end I made them both the same size, so they could do their eye to eye.
Yeah, that's important in a big feud like that. They have to look like they can exchange either wins and losses, and he probably the strangest thing I did with him was I tagged him and Thantos together year 1 because I did some weird stuff in the beginning, and they were called the Legends of Wrestling, and they were managed by Omega.
Did they feud Comrade Terror and Dreadnought?
No. they didn't get to that level yet. But I teamed that, and then Massive was with them, and so was Comrade Terror at the beginning there, because we turned them heel, and then just teamed them with Thantos because it was at the time like NWO, like it was all the top guys together, and they just were trying to dominate the GWF at the time, and it was all starter set guys, which was fun and interesting. I told Tom about it at Galacticon. He's like, "Really? He did that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, let me sit you down with somebody and teach you how to play. And that's when he introduced me to Steve Minskoff and explained some things to me, because I had no idea it was an ongoing, like a timeline kind of thing, because I just had the first set at the time.
You didn't read the book?
I read the book, but I only had one. I'd played so many cards for that first set. Seriously, we knocked out every day when I would get home. Like it was summer vacation, so like the first week or 2 I was still in school, and we would play 4 or 5 cards a night, and then once school was out we were playing all day. It was crazy. We were knocking out 5 to 10 cards a day, probably, not even exaggerating.
How many matches were on those cards?
Probably 8 to 10.
Jeez, you're doing 80 matches a day?
Yeah, we were into it, man. And then when we went to Galacticon, Tom's like, "How long you guys been playing?" We're like, about 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks. We've got 2,000 matches under our belts.
Yep, we're into it. But yeah, it was funny. He was blown away that we would only been playing that long. So we don't live far from, Pittsburgh and Jamestown is like a 2.5, 3 hour drive. It's not too bad. So we're like, yeah, let's just make it out. We'll just stay for the first, we'll just do one day and head home. So we just went up for a Saturday and came back.
Yeah, I don't remember you and your dad the first year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we weren't there very long. So he had to preach the next day. So we stayed. We met Tom. He gave us a big discount on all the sets. So we bought everything up until that point. And then like the whole way home, we're like booking our Fed with all flipping through the cards. So it was funny.
That's one thing I miss on those car rides. I'd buy all the sets,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd be sitting in the passenger seat going, "Oh, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'll be doing this. I'll be doing this."
Yeah.
Just cycling through the cards.
Yep.
Skimming the book, figuring out,
Uh-huh.
exactly, what kind of happening.
Oh yeah, it was overwhelming bringing it because we brought home. It wasn't the NGO set yet, but it was just like a bunch of individual characters and some tag teams and stuff. So we had brought all those home too, and we put all of them right in our Fed initially too. Like Armageddon and your Big Top Terror was part of that, I believe. Yeah, because the second year we were there is when the NGO set came out.
Yeah.
But we're getting off topic, so
yep.
Back to Star Warrior.
Yeah, he's one guy though. I never had him turn bad.
Which is probably a good thing because he's the ultimate good guy.
Now, in my Fed later on, he becomes more of a dick good guy.
That annoying good guy.
Well,
which is too good.
No, as a manager, he'd become kind of prickish. Like,
okay.
If you're not pulling your weight, I've had him boot people out of the Fed, out of the FDF.
Nice.
For him, it's just become a matter of you got to win at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
He's turning into the fan favorite that people are starting to hate.
I can see that happening.
Fan favorite.
Fairly easy for him.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing with him right now.
That's cool. What year does his manager card get introduced? I
don't know.
2105, I think. Yeah, 2105.
Yeah, because I just had him actually enter because I'm entering 2105. So he just took over because Thantos was a manager of the FDF.
Wow.
And so I had him come in and literally like fire Thantos. The FDF haven't been winning.
Nice.
And Star Warrior, took over. So, it upset Thanos because Thanos has been, the FDF commissioner, not commissioner, but the FDF manager for a couple of years. So then Thanos quits and he's just now appeared, with Chaos as his manager and they're in the Citadel of the Elite. So Thanos, I've had him switch back so that Star Wars and Thanos can continue their feud.
As they should.
But on Star Warrior, what would you? This is where it gets tough,
Yeah, because he's already
pretty on that card because it's a solid card.
He's got a BAAA on his charts. He's got a B in ropes and an A in everything else.
I think I might his level 1 move on his down 3, I think is a choice.
Yeah, he goes straight through on level 1, number 6.
No. On level 3, his number 1 move.
It's a forearm smash 2.
Yeah. If anything, I turn it into like a death jump G or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't have an option for death jump at all in his original card.
Yeah. After 25 years, why do I still know that?
So you change it to a forearm smash 3 choice G.
Yeah.
Just to give him a chance. I mean, why doesn't Star Warrior have a death jump option?
I don't know. Considering his finisher is, the Nova launch.
Is off the top.
The Jimmy
Yeah.
Snuka.
He's got a cross body block, running star blast, flying drop kick. Yeah, I mean, I think he needs a death jump.
Yeah. A death jump, because the death jump, if you do, if you're facing guys, C or B, you can get the odd pinfall out of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I probably would have given him a few more wins, because believe it, I can't remember how many wins he ended up getting. It's somewhere in one of my charts. I didn't write it on the back of his card.
Yeah, I think he needs a death jump. I don't know where I'd put it though. I mean, if the idea is to make him better, it would have to be that #1 slot on level 3.
Yeah.
At least give him a choice, an option to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. But just to be different, I'll
take away a down on level 3 and just to let him have just a pin.
Only a pin, yeah. Maybe get. Here we go. I'll make the running star blast and add 1 move. Number 6 on level 3.
Yeah, we haven't done that before.
No. Because I think if you take away the choice on number 4 on level 2 on the flying drop kick, that'd make him too tough. Yeah, I don't know. I think the death jump on #1 makes the most sense.
Yeah, just to see him even have a death jump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the way it is now, he has a choice B and an into the turnbuckle. So he has 2 options for into the turnbuckle. Yeah, I think you got to get a death jump on there somehow.
Yeah.
His DQ is a 5 too, which is kind of high for a good guy.
Yeah, but 5's less than average. So.
Mm-hmm. Does Thanos have?
Thanos is a 6. Oh, he's also a 5? I thought he was a 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can now pop over to Thantos.
The evil game master, Thanos.
Me and him are definitely developing the same hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
And that big forehead.
Yep. You see to get a little scald glue on your forehead, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah. And you got the scar that we always wondered where it came from, and then years later we get the one booklet of the 2087, and you find out it comes from Sin.
Mm-hmm.
Punch him in the face with brass knuckles.
We broke the galactic code soon after.
Now Thantos was definitely the badass.
Mm-hmm.
For me, he was a 9-time heavyweight champion. Had the longest heavyweight title run. I think it was like 18 defenses. And 1 time heavyweight tag champ with Galactic Punisher.
Nice.
Of all people.
Yeah, Thantos is probably our most dominant character ever in our Fed. He just beat everybody. With that +4 finisher and the -2 agility, -3 power. Everybody but Star Warrior. Like all his moves are getting through. He's got the same deal on. He didn't have an option for out of the ring, which is different on him because, well, by today's rules, because choice G I think used to be out of the ring and H was death jump.
No, they're both death jumps.
Okay, so then he didn't have an option for out of the ring then.
No,
which make him tough in battle royals.
Probably why he never won any.
Yeah. But he had something interesting on his card. He had into the ropes and into the turnbuckle as 5 and 6 on level 1.
Yep.
Which made his level 2 that much tougher because you didn't have to worry about charts once you got beyond level 1.
And then he had the vaunted +4 finisher, which no one had.
Yep, he was the best with his finisher for sure.
On that figure 4.
Mm-hmm. Master Lock. Chris Masters. Remember the Master Lock challenge?
Yep.
Should do it with
I was just talking to I sent a message to Todd. Chris Masters, I guess he was in OVW and he did his old WWF entrance.
Nice.
And I left a comment saying, "Hey, I remember I was sitting beside Chris for a couple shows, indie shows. We just happened to sit beside each other. We just got along, sat beside each other on a series of shows, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the whole time he's trying to talk me into buying a Switch so he can play video because he's a big gamer.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, come on, Mike, you gotta, and I'm like, I'm not buying. I'm like, you buy a 360. He's like, no, because then he can play the Switch on the planes and
yeah,
he can do that. And so I made the comment on his Twitter feed. I'm like, great guy. I said, even he was trying to get me to buy a Switch, and I said, and he would watch, and he watched some of the matches, and he gave guys advice. And then 2 minutes later he's clicking the the like button, and I'm like, hey, Chris still remembers that.
Nice. His game card has a mechanic for the Master Lock challenge on it.
Yeah, it was funny because I tried to get him to sign for the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I want more information. I'm like, well, then I'll give me your email address and I'll ship it off to the guys in charge.
He's in.
Yeah. But I thought the Master Lock was a figure 4.
Thantos is. His
yeah.
Chris Masters is the it's in
it's
full Nelson. Yeah.
This is like this. It's the full Nelson.
This is illegal.
And but yeah, Thantos, he never lost a feud. He spent 5 years beating up Star Warrior, 4 years beating up Matador, and when he came against Janus, he lost twice. But he had also got reduced at that point.
Yeah, he had been downgraded by then.
But yeah, his first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 years, he was undefeated in feuds. In his first,
I believe it. Yeah, that first card is tough. Back before COVID shut us down, we had 4 annual Gary Atkinson Memorial tournaments at New Dimension Comics, and Thantos won the first 3.
Yeah,
because it was
he won the very first Canada Cup too. Thantos. Yeah.
Everyone's like, retire Thantos. I'm like, nope. The first one we did the Legend starter set and the Champions of the Galaxy starter set, and you could pick anybody from there. But the Legends guys just dominated. So then we just went back to, then we added the Invasion set each year. We would add a new Invasion set, but then we got shut down. But Thantos won 3 of the 4, which was, I thought, awesome. That's how I would have booked it.
Yeah, I do a tournament called Battle Bowl every year where I take 32 random wrestlers, and it's completely random.
Mm-hmm.
And I mix them up, and then I make 16 teams out of those 32 wrestlers, and they have a tournament.
Yeah.
And if you're a heel and villain in round 1, you only tag out on a 3. Okay. And every round I up your tag out. So it'd be a 4, then a 5, and then when you get to the finals, you're tagging on a 6 because if you win, you get a shot at the tag titles.
Uh-huh.
And Thantos and Galactic Punish were paired up.
Nice.
And I remember, now they can tag out on offense at any time, but you can't tag out on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Punisher would put him down, and Thantos would just, finish him off with a Master Lock. And they actually, I think, when they won the tag titles, they defended it like 9 times. They were a solid tag team. Now, it screwed up my booking for a long time because I got, 2 guys who were in feuding groups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
as my tag team champions.
Hey,
And they
makes
did
for some
pretty
interesting stories.
but it worked out in the long run because I knew they'd become the mercenaries.
Hmm.
And so for me, that was Thanos was in his ear, this is where you want to be. And so when, he switched, I made a group of um, Chaos and Kraken and Matador, and then the mercenaries. And Thantos was also in the group, so it was a big, massive group.
Uh-huh.
And so I had ran the storyline where the reason they came over was because of Thantos's friendship that he had formed with Galactic Punisher. But how did he do for you?
He was great. We started our fed based on what the back of the book said with like the titles and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we started with Thantos as champion, and then he defended against Star Warrior on our first card, and he was just always in the title picture. I don't know how many times he was champion, but he seemed to almost always be champion, beating everybody, long title reigns. Star Warrior would win it, but then Thantos would get it right back. Did so well for us. I don't remember tagging him with anybody other than Star Warrior, like I said when we talked about Star Warrior. But and they did very well. I just can't think of anybody who did any better than Thantos for me in our Fed. Just always on top.
I suppose
dominated.
When you run 2,000 cards a year, you're
Yeah.
probably going to have a few title defenses and reigns.
Mm-hmm. He got tired. But yeah, probably our favorite character collectively, other than like my personal favorite of Billy Joe Boxer, but definite like definitive bad guy. And he was like to me he was always like Ric Flair. He would be the same as a good guy or bad guy, would depend on who he was facing.
Yeah,
would make him a good guy or bad guy. He was always the same to me.
Yeah, his for me his final run. Tex Remington was my heavyweight champion. He had upset Chaos twice for the heavyweight title. And so Thantos wasn't ranked for any heavyweight title. And so I had a launch pad interview segment, and Tex Remington's out there with his belt. And I was talking about because he had just beaten Chaos, like 2 days before, and this is the next card, and he's out there talking. So Thantos comes out and wants a title shot, and Tex is like, "You're not even ranked." And Thantos made a deal with him that if he wins the the title, if he gives him a title shot, he'll put his career on the line. So Tex Remington could be the man that retires Thantos.
Uh-huh.
That's a big, that's a huge deal. So Tex puts the title on the line, and I would have ran with it, and Thantos beat Tex, but Thantos also said that he would give Tex Remington a rematch if he beat him.
Okay.
So it was basically a win-win for Tex. If he loses, he gets a rematch back, and if he wins, he retires Thanos.
Yeah, which is probably a bigger deal than being champion.
Yeah. So Thanos, beats Tex, and then Thanos, announces at the end of the match he's going to defend the title once, win or lose against his next opponent, and he's going to retire after the match. So he's either going to retire as champion, or he's going to, just retire.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tex comes out because he's like, "Hey, it's my title shot," and on the next card, and Thantos is like, "I'm not giving you the title shot," and he's like, "But you said I get a rematch," and he was like, "I lied. Do you know who I am? I'm the original bad guy. And he goes, the only man getting a title shot is Star Warrior. And so Star Warrior wasn't even ranked anywhere because it was his last card as well, his tag card. And so that they wrestled for the heavyweight title. And Star Warrior pinned Thanos.
Nice.
And Star Warrior lost it, the very next card as well because he wasn't he was nowhere near anybody on that list.
Right.
But it
That's
was
cool.
weird having,
That's a great ending to that rivalry.
yeah. And so Star Warrior beat him, and that's how I retired Thanos. But yeah, he was so dominant for so many years with me.
I think he's a lot of people's favorite, just because he was so dominant for so long, and
he was my first wrestler to 100 wins. I think he still leads for most submission wins. I think he had like close to 60 submission victories. But when you got a +4 finisher, and even then it dropped to a +3, which is nothing, not too shabby.
Right. Still good.
I still remember one match, and I've mentioned this before, against Bob Ashby, where Thanos lost in the finals of a tournament in one move.
Yeah. I hate when that happens. I hate when that happens. When I was streaming, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, I had so many matches end with off charts on the snake eyes rolls. I'm like, this is just like the whole thing I had planned. I was done with in like 30 minutes, but I was having computer trouble, so it worked out.
But yeah, it was just funny. Like all these people gathered around, cage match, Lord Nexus versus Thanos. Thanos into the turnbuckle, double ones, roll your pin, double ones. I win.
Yep.
Into the turnbuckle. What?
Yep, that'll get you every time.
Just made me laugh when that happened. But yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anybody go, yeah, Thanos, yeah, he did nothing for me. He's the one guy where he did something for everybody. Star Warrior, yeah, he captured some titles for me, but Thanos was just dominant through and through.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
now, I don't know his height and weight according to the game. I had him at 6'4", 255.
Let's see what his official is. 6'3", 255. So very close.
Really? Oh, very cool. Because his picture, he looked a little stockier than Star Warrior.
Yeah.
He looked a little wider in the chest, so I added a few more pounds to him.
He looks kind of old too in that first drawing.
Yeah, that first year to the, when you see that Cosmos drawing in his early year to then.
Yeah.
It's like he had a hard couple years.
He did. I'll bring that up so people know what we're talking about.
It's like if you watch Star Wars and you see Ben Kenobi, and in game time it's only like 5 years down the road, but it's Alec Guinness. And I was like, oh, that desert living is pretty tough. Oh, but yeah, it's about 15 or 20 years down the road.
Yeah, Luke was supposed to be what, like 15, 16 years old?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was a rough 15 years for Ben.
It was.
It was the same as Thanos. That was a rough few years being the leader of the bad guys.
Breaking the galactic code will do that to you.
Yeah, ages them quick.
It does. So
yeah, we can pop on to our. Oh yeah, how would we change the man?
How do you make this guy better?
His level for me, I think his level on level 2 offense, his number 4 move, just make it a down.
Get rid of the choice. Move that up to the move above. Yeah, I think that's the only way you can make him any better. Unless you drop his pin down to a 4-1, but just to be different, I'll say that. Drop his pin down to 4-1.
Yeah, because you give him 3 downs on level 2, and he's an absolute monster.
His defense is solid.
Yeah.
He's either dazed or coming back on level 1. On level 2, He's got 2 days, 2 comebacks, and 2 hurts.
Yeah. He's got the old Commander Sam defense.
Star Warrior, I think, had that too. Yeah.
I don't know why I call that the Commander Sam defense, but I just
it was actually used a lot in the first set.
Yeah.
That
2
format.
2 days, 2 hurts, 2 comebacks.
Maybe I'll make his Thantos 1 a Thantos 2 on level 2 defense. Give him 2 level 2 comebacks.
Oh yeah.
Make them unique in that way, because you don't see that very often.
No, it has happened a couple times, but it's rare.
So Thantos, not much you can do to improve the guy.
No.
He is, like you said, the man.
No, they're just, you give him one of those 2 things, and he's going to be able to compete even with some of the power creep.
Yeah. That +4 finisher lets him compete with those guys today. But you see, I mean, there is a power creep, but there's also a balance in it too. Like, it's very uncommon now to see 1 down on level 3 defense.
Yeah.
Usually most guys have 2. But yeah. I think its card still holds up.
Oh yeah. It's solid. But that's why he did what he did. And it's weird too to make a game where the villain is the most dominant character in the game.
I love it though.
Yeah. Like it's you think of other games, the good guy's always going to be the the number 1 guy, but in this game, the villain's the number 1 guy.
So you can have the hero chasing the villain.
Yeah. No, that's the way a lot of wrestling works. The fans are more into it when the the good guy's got to chase the villain around to get his belt.
Right, and that was the parallel too between WWF at the time and NWA, because you had the WWF was the babyface territory where you just built the heel machine to fight Hogan.
Yeah,
and then the NWA was the opposite. Was Flair was beating all the local heroes in the territories.
Yep.
Which is why they were so different, but yet both worked.
And I think I liked having the the top guys as a bad guy. Now Thanos, I moved him back and forth a few times.
Me too.
Between heel and face, but Star Warrior just stayed face the whole time.
I think when you're as good as Thantos, you just have that respect from the crowd. And like I said earlier, it would depend on who he fought would make him the good guy or the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he was just always, it.
Like today, in today's wrestling, I'd equate him to Randy Orton. Like he's the same no matter who he's fighting. It's his opponent that determines whether or not he's the good guy or bad guy. He doesn't change his character at all.
No. But a lot of few of the guys are like that. But yeah, that's not a bad comparison. But we can pop on to our topic of starting over.
Yeah,
that's something you keep saying you're going to do constantly.
I'm really tempted because I did so many things wrong that I kind of want to correct it, and then I kind of want to go back and add Red Talon and Duke of Destruction into the mix.
How did they come into the game? I got those cards and I have no idea where I got them.
They came out with the 30th anniversary, and they were supposed to be the last 2 characters that didn't make the cut to get into the initial starting game. So Tom released them as part of the 30th anniversary celebration, and they're supposed to be around at the beginning, but we didn't get the cards until like 5 years ago.
Okay, because I got these cards and I'm like, where do these guys come from?
Yeah, they're starter set guys. So I'd like to get them in the mix, I think.
Yeah, you could start off 26 guys.
Mm-hmm. And then I would use that to put in some bootleg characters that I like. You know, like just make it more my own, I think.
Yeah.
But not chaotic like it was back in 1997. When I was
I've started my Fed over twice.
okay.
The first time I did it, I played with Rob.
Mm-hmm.
And so we played for, about 2 years together. And then we eventually did break our Feds apart, but
Mm-hmm.
I filled up my Fed with bootlegs that I got from Mark Ashby.
Yeah.
And, then Rob gave me a couple guys he didn't like he hated the bomb squad. So, hey, I'll take the bomb squad. And then finally, I broke down and I bought, I think, the first 4 sets at a convention one year. Through one of Tom's convention discounts, going, hey, if you buy them, I'll give you the discount.
Yeah.
And then you're hooked. And then you got to keep buying them.
Yeah. He got me.
Yeah. And I put them all into one big Fed right off the start. And I remember my first champion was Bounty Hunter, and he beat he beat Star Warrior in the final. I remember that one.
Okay.
And I wrestled for probably about a month, 2 months, and Thanos was nowhere in the title picture. Star Warrior had dropped down. Spike was dominating, and Mesmer, and I'm like, I felt I missed out on that history.
Mm-hmm.
But I was still early enough where I could stop it.
Yeah.
So I stopped and did the reboot then. So, and that was probably so Galacticon 3, whatever that was, 90 something.
92, 93, probably.
Yeah.
See, the good thing is now too, like there's so many jumping on points. If you could restart at New Beginning, Legends, which is what 21-25, I think, is another jumping on point where they switched to color. They colorized everything and gave it, another starter set for all that. I thought about even starting up current at 21-37 and just starting a Fed there just to be caught up. I just can't. I tried it a couple times. I can't get into it that way because all those feuds are referenced in the story, and they were in the starter game too. But I didn't know, like I didn't have all those cards at my fingertips like I do now. Like if I were to jump it up to 21-37 and start there.
But where would you start off? Would you start off in, what is it, 2074? And work your way up?
See, I don't know. I have all the classic sets, so I could. I'd say it's tough. There's too many options for me now. I'd probably start 2087 if I were to go back. I don't know though, because then I would regret not playing back as far as I could because I do have everything.
Yeah,
it's a tough call.
And in those years too, like you could still use Dorado Sundown in with the original 24.
True.
And you could use Torrin Kalum, and you could use a lot of those guys. You could probably
for sure.
Because who's saying Sin and Salvation had to go home?
Right. And you can just use them sporadically too. Like if you need a tag team for something, bring those guys in.
Natural Man, yeah, okay, he becomes Vanity. But then you have a storyline you can make out of that.
Yeah.
You can create the feud with Beast Rider.
It's tough. Like I definitely want to bring in Akuma as Thanos' bodyguard though. When Thanos is at his height. Bring him in.
But which Akuma card? Not the original Minskoff one, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Whichever version I have, whichever the oldest version is I have. Then I have the color one too.
Well, I don't know which version yet. The one with the bad drawing.
I don't have the one with the bad drawing. I have the one with the good
Okay,
drawing.
that one's highly illegal. Like there's an out of the ring on level 2.
I'd use it if I had it.
Oh, I used it. Won my heavyweight title. That was an easy way to get a guy to get a down out of the ring.
I wish they would have kept that on his re-release, just because it made him so unique. But make some kind of rule on it. I don't know how you could balance that though. We'll have to talk about that in our bootleg special coming up soon. But I want to kind of do a restart with the color cards that they've colorized, but they're coming out so slow, and I don't know if they're going to do all of them.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like that's going to end soon.
You know, I've read Jeff Manning restarted his a little while ago, so he's doing it, and I hear on Roll Up Sam Fain, you know, he's talking about restarting his Fed. A lot of guys want to do it, either because they did what you did, kind of just rush through things.
Yeah, and did a lot of things wrong.
They're missing out on history,
right?
Or they screwed it up badly, or some don't like all the new guys, and they have that, you know, yearning to go back to, because they enjoyed playing with those first few sets.
I don't know if I can't get into the newer stuff because I'm just in a different place in my life when I'm looking at them, or if it's just because I don't have the history that I had with them, that I have with the original. I think there's just a fondness there because of all the memories. Yeah. Not that the new characters are bad or any, you know, not as good. It's just that I don't have that fondness for them because of the memories attached to the original sets.
So I thought if I ever restarted, I'd restart, but I wouldn't use any bootlegs.
So you do the opposite of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I would start from 2074.
Okay.
And I'd work my way up, but I would also, by the time I hit, you know, the 2080, what is it, 2087?
Yeah.
By the time I hit 2087, though, I would probably be keeping a few of those guys. And you know, now that I know Red Talon and Duke of Destruction, I'd throw them in, and you know, the Royal Court would be 4 guys instead of 3.
Because there's like a power struggle between him and Exo King, I think, is the storyline that they introduced him with.
And you know, you can bring in Dorado Sundown and the Astorians, and you know, a lot of those guys. So instead of having 24, you know, I may bump it up to 32. You know, I wouldn't keep all those guys, but you mix Torrin Kalem into that group.
That's not a superstar.
Yeah, and you know, Omega suddenly drops off real fast.
Yeah. Yeah, the more we talk about this, the more I want to do it. I just don't know when I'd have time to do it. That's the problem.
Yeah. That's the same issue, you know, with all of us.
Yeah.
If I ever did it, I think if I ever did it, I'd have to do it online, just so I could click finish the match.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'd be able to get into it like that, like I did before. I don't know. It's worth trying, but I don't.
It's one of those things. I'd really like, you know, I've thought about it a bunch of times, how different my Fed would be if I didn't, you know, use bootlegs, or if I stuck to the storyline, or even if I didn't stick to the storyline, but just stuck with original wrestlers.
Yeah.
You know, how much would have changed?
I know a lot would change for us, because we had, like, as soon as we got home from that first Galacticon, like, all those bootlegs that we got there were thrown right into the mix.
Yeah. Oh, I did the same thing. As soon as I got home with Kuma, that dude's in the mix so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember Carnage and Slaughterhouse won our GWF tag titles like 2 weeks after Galacticon. We put them right in there. They beat the Gladiators. It was, yeah. I don't know. See, I kind of want to do like an anything goes kind of Fed, but use old cards and old bootlegs and stuff like that. I don't know. There's so many options. There's so many options for things to do.
I'm just looking for it. I got the Omega color card.
Uh-huh.
That's, you know, that the one that was given out at one of the conventions
Mm-hmm.
at the Galacticon last year.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure a way, you know, hey, I want to use this card. And I know I'm never going to get to 2135. And, you know, I'm going to be lucky if I hit 2020.
Yeah.
So I thought of having Omega go back in time and then use, you know, because it's all time machine stuff. He comes forward in time because he wants to relive his past. He misses it.
Can do it.
But, you know, the fans don't like it, you know, and he's basically would be a heel.
Uh-huh.
So he'd be facing off against Chaos, or he'd be teaming with Chaos. So I'm thinking that might be the guy to push Chaos, and I was going to make Chaos become face, and you know, and that's, you know, I don't like using the time stuff, and I know it exists in the game, you know, because I use Hexagon and Executioner and Genghis Khan.
You just do a Cronus Fed.
And but I'm like, that could be a neat thing I'm going to do with Omega.
That'd be fun. I love that card.
Wants to relive his. I saw it and I'm like, oh, I want to use this card, but I'm never going to get to the. You know, I don't run a Cronus Fed or anything like that.
Uh-huh. I love that card though. The art is awesome. The back is stacked. So it's such a good card.
And that way I can, you know, have Omega. And then be it would throw such a loop into things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I wouldn't make him start off in you know, the CPC and work his way up. You know, he'd come in.
Omega. Yeah. That'd be fun. That'd be a cool storyline. There's so much you can do in a reboot. Like with I think the biggest thing I would want to do is clean up my mess. But then I'd have a feeling I'd create more messes in the process. Just because I'd have so many more cards to mess with and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, there's so many things you can do with the game.
Mm-hmm. I want to go all the way back to the 1920s with Legends, and then work my way up to through to GWF.
Can you imagine trying to do that, where you just start off and, like, you know, using, you know, Pesic and all these guys, and you're like, okay, they retire in this year. You have a list of when wrestlers could come in.
Yeah, somebody did that.
I'm in 70.
Excuse me. I think Ty States put together a timeline on the message boards of when everybody debuted and when they retired. So somebody already did the work for me. I could really do this. That'd be kind of crazy to get to, but then you'd have that gap between, you know, 1990 or, you know, 2022, because you're still getting indie guys signed, right? 2087. That's when the bootlegs shine. Yeah, all the bootlegs start coming in. There you go. It's doable. Yep. We're just planning it out for everyone. Okay, everybody. Yep. Start off in 1890. Yep. Wonder who has the oldest. Who would be the oldest card? Abraham Lincoln. I don't. I'm not going to include the Abraham Lincoln card. Is there? There's not an actual. I know there's a bootleg of Abraham. I think there's one you can download, an official one. Oh, really? I'm pretty sure. But I know, you know, you got Ed's, you know, you got Ed Lewis, you got John Pesic. I think there's some of the early 1900 guys. Gotch. Yeah, Frank Gotch. I don't know who's on the game. You know, I don't know if there's a Farmer Brown or. I don't think he has one. I'll have to try and find that thread, and if I can find it, I'll link it in the description below. Because I want somebody to do this. It's probably not going to be me, because I don't have the time or patience to do it. But I think it'd be amazing to do, wouldn't it? Though, starting off in
you know, whenever late 1800s, early 1900s,
Uh-huh.
with a 4-man fed.
Yeah. Just these two matches a night at the carnival.
Yeah. They're just all battling each other out.
Mm-hmm.
So like Gorgeous George, I think, would pop in. I think he debuted in the 20s.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys from the 20s and 30s, I think.
Yeah. Start picking up steam.
It's on it. Honestly, it's doable. That's what's so great is there's enough of these guys out there that have cards now that this would be doable.
Oh, it'd be hilarious to do.
How do you explain that? Well, when the aliens show up? We're unifying with the world heavyweight title here on Earth, the Galaxian title.
You'd have time between 2022 and 2087 with all your bootlegs.
True.
Slowly mix them in. You figure who's going to be the, which alien race, would be least offensive? Maybe the Titans.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they look pretty much human and
right. I think this needs to happen.
And then as soon as you see, I think the first real alien was Mangus.
Yeah.
Kraken, but at least he had bumps on his head, but he still looked human.
Yeah, he could wear a hat.
Yeah. He's got pilar cysts all over his head. You don't know. And then I think seeing Mangus would really freak people out.
Yeah.
But then they got the Comrade Terror. They're like, yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, he's nowhere near as creepy looking as Mangus.
No.
He had the little eye tentacle things.
So yeah, it's completely possible if you think about it. Yeah, you could run a Fed 200 years.
yeah, you can. It'd be cool.
If anybody out there wants to try, let us know.
Yes, we'll have you on to document it on the show.
That would be completely amazing to do.
It would. It'd be so much fun too. If you think about it, though, the first 50 years you'll be able to knock out in no time because there's nobody around.
Yeah,
there won't be that many cards.
Yeah, you still do, your 20 cards a year.
Mm-hmm. But they only be 2 matches long because there's only 4 guys.
Yeah, but back then the matches, would last an hour.
That's true. That's why I love those vintage charts that came with the 7th expansion set. I was using them on stream for the more traditional style, but the matches were taking way too long, so I had to dump them because it was taking too long on stream.
I haven't seen any of those. I know there's Legend.
Yeah, they came in the 7th set, I think, but there's a couple options on like Out of the Ring that keep you on level 2 offense. I'm like, this is slowing it down too much.
Yeah,
it's perfect for if you're running that kind of a Fed though. It's perfect. Oh yeah,
I like watching some of the old matches.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was watching Pat Patterson take on Buddy Rogers for the WWERF title.
Uh-huh.
And Pat Patterson missed a drop kick, and Buddy Rogers covered him for the pin.
Hey,
that caught me off guard.
Yeah, it would knock the wind out of you if you think about it. Missing a drop kick and landing flat out like that could knock the wind out of you, roll them right up.
And I was like, that, and that was the 3rd fall because all the matches were 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah,
so that was the third. He missed a drop kick and got pinned.
Yeah, that's a snake eyes on the Into the Ropes chart, maybe.
Just
look how much wrestling has changed though from the 80s, just from the 80s to today.
I do. I watch a lot of like I said, I still watch a lot of old wrestling, and I was watching a bunch of Bruiser Brody matches,
mm-hmm.
and I'm watching guys take bumps, and none of them are doing back bumps. They get hit and they do a crumble bump.
Yeah,
and then just fall straight down.
Yeah,
nobody's doing any real big back bumps. So either the rings were incredibly hard back then, which I'm probably going to believe they were.
Or they were just smart.
Yeah. And they're extending their life in their bump card.
Yep. Good stuff. Like, yeah, I don't know how these guys today are going to be around in 10 years. All this crazy stuff they're doing.
Oh, they're not going to be.
No.
It wears on you. Like, was watching what's his name? Dr. Hightower. He's a chiropractor, and he had Kenny Omega on, and they're going through all his injuries.
Yeah.
Like I wrestled off and on for 22 years, fairly, I started out doing, a couple times, a month, and then I was doing like 5 times a week.
Yeah.
For like, almost a year, 2 years. And then it started to drop back down again. And then by the end I was doing, once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I liked, because it took that much time to recover.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, these guys now, like all these dives to the outside. But
All the high flying indie guys I know, they don't last long.
Yeah.
Their careers are anywhere between 5 and 8 to 10 years at most.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're getting lighter and lighter. So if they do hit, they're they can survive.
Yeah.
But yeah, they take way too many bumps, and I've seen too many guys have concussions, and like I've had 6 concussions. I talked about that on one of my Uncle Hitman things on Facebook.
Yeah.
And even my wife said she's noticed like a change in my personality. I can become frustrated at times when I never did.
Mm-hmm.
And I lose train of thought at times. And I'm like, that's only 6 concussions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's scary.
Way more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that they're doing now is unnecessary. Right, we're getting off on a whole other topic. Maybe we should just
Go back to the end.
Yeah. We can talk about this another time. Do a special let's complain about modern wrestling episode.
We'll end our extended episode with our shout outs.
Yes. Check out all the other Filsinger Games media, the Roll Up podcast, the official podcast for Filsinger Games, the Legend Team's Uncharted Territory, Grant with his GWF promoter on both Twitch and YouTube, Lee Longpre's. What's that?
Did you say Uncharted Territories?
Yes.
Oh,
Said them second. Lee Longpre's Dizzy Dice podcast. Check that out. I need to get the link for that to put down below here. Trying to think. Sergeant Fragamal is on Twitch now. He's usually on Saturday nights. Put his link below. And if we're forgetting you, it's because we don't know, or I'm just dumb because I'm very tired. But please hit us up and we'll get your link in there and we'll talk about you and hopefully send some traffic your way, because more people who are doing stuff like this, the only thing that can come from that is more people learn about the game, and that's a good thing.
And we appreciate the comments that people are leaving. Yeah,
we've been getting a lot of comments lately, which is really cool.
And what makes this different than the Roll Up podcast is you have a mic that actually shows up every week.
Ooh. But the downside is you have a Broc that shows up every week too. So, you win some, you lose some, folks.
Okay, then.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Go ahead and give a like and subscribe.
We do our bootlegs.
Bootleg special. Watch out.
Yep.
That'll be a fun one. Till then, take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Good night.